In today's video, we're going to be talking about show rates for VSL call funnels. The industry goal for this is around 75% on qualified bookings, and we just took ours from the 40s to the 60s using this setup right here. So I'm going to do a deep dive into the pages, the emails, the SMS, all of the things that we are using to accomplish this, and then some cool ninja future changes that we are implementing and removing actually to try and accomplish this 75%. All right. Then if you stick around to the end of the video, I'll go through yesterday's stats. I make these videos every single day, so I'll go through yesterday's buyers, cash collected, and just a general update. Yesterday was a fun one, so if you stick around, you'll hear that. Last year, we did $30 million in cash collected in our women's fitness coaching business, and everything on this channel is me sharing what did work, what did not work, and what we are actively doing to scale to $100 million a year, all with the goal of finding top talent, opportunities, and build a network of cool people doing the same. All I ask is to subscribe if you want to see more of these, comment some feedback and other topic posts you want to see, and like the ones you like. So let's get into it. So for us, the three different ways that bookings are going to come in, and I have videos on the channel where I do like a deep dive into the actual funnel and everything that happens prior to this, but the three different types of bookings that are going to happen are financially qualified versus DQ'd, and then DQ'd still closes. It's just at, half the rate or 60% of the rate of these financially qualified, and financially qualified is coming from the application. So these ones are going to close at a higher rate. They go to the top closers and best closers. That was a Hormozy thing that we rolled out. The DQ ones go to pod 2 closers, which are either, struggling pod 1 that have the top leads and trying to get them back on track, work their pipeline, and maybe get less lead flow, as well as new ramping reps are going to start here. And then setter bookings are going to come into pod 1 closers because these are the most high intent, high quality, directly, very comparable, but directly, and then go to those closers, right? So the industry will say 75%, 80% plus, and I've heard of people doing 80% plus, like relatively at scale, which is unreal because we have never been at those numbers. So when we did 30 million last year, it was around 55% or something like that. So for us, right now, we just achieved 62, and if I pull up the tracker like day over day, we were in the 40s for a minute, which is not good, just because you're burning 60% of your bookings at that point, financially qualified or not. So for us, the two different main sources, I'm just going to bucket these as financially qualified and DQ'd. Those are marketing bookings direct, and then we have sets. So for our marketing month to date, right? Yeah, month to date. Today's the 17th. So 17 days into the month, we are on average at 49% with our marketing show rates and 72% with our setter show rates. So if you get nothing else from this video, our stats on our setters is already almost at this. And this is with brand new setters that we are ramping and just now launching this month. So like, if you get nothing else from the video, add setters. I'm going to do a huge deep dive into like all the confirmation, communication, how we frame everything and do all that. But just that alone would get you there. Now the economics change and pieces of the puzzle change, but crazy. And we've never had setters. We didn't have setters for the last 71 million, like just crazy. So current setup, offer framing, why, and continuity. So what I mean by this is basically why is somebody getting on the phone and making sure that that messaging stays as continuity throughout it. So are they applying to work with you and then getting on the phone because they're applying for your program? Are they getting on the phone for a free consultation or a assessment around this and that and what topic? Like holding that offer framing we've seen already has just completely changed just the continuity. It's like someone is applying for this. They know it's this. They know, right? You have higher close rates, higher show rates, all of this because they know they're applying for the program. They know that they're going to get pitched. One example. But if you're going to do the other example, consultation call, come with your problems ready. We need to diagnose it, see how we can help. You'll get some coaching on the call. Like you have to pick one or build one and just keep at that. Continuity throughout that. All I mean by that is just keeping through on that thread, naming the call the same thing, and yeah, throughout. So confirmation page, this is the one that we have used for the last 20-ish million, 30 million. So you're booked for confirmation, what you need to know. We're going to call you. I'm going to go through all these confirmations with you. Your calls via Zoom. We moved to Zoom 30 or 40 million ago. We will email and text you the information, watch this video, look at these testimonial images, and then watch these reviews, and these reviews are all pop-ups, okay? So that's it. Now, that page, first thing that's going to happen is they're going to land on that once they book, unless they're with a setter, and I'll differentiate what happens here for a setter or not. First thing they're going to do is get an email from Calendly with an actual calendar invite. Okay, so we just have that toggled on. It's the default one. We did change the naming convention so it matches and it like looks cleaner on the title of the event. So like it'll say Warrior Babe, whatever company. And if this video is glitching, it's annoying. I'm sorry, but it's going to be the company name, brand name, and then the invitee name and the sales rep name. Then it's going to instantly push an email from the sales rep. So we're going to automate that to send from, for in our case, HubSpot. That's going to be pushed to the confirmation page. So this entire email is framed in a way that's like, congratulations, you made the best step. There are things you need to do. You need to do homework before the call. Go back to this thank you page and watch these videos. Do this and this. Make sure you're in a quiet place. So that instantly happens. Then 1 hour after that, we begin our brand hammer them content. Okay. So this is Jeremy Haynes. I have more, talks about Jeremy Haynes down here, but shout out to him. He's the one who came up with this, or that we got this from, I guess. He has great YouTube content, but hammer them with content that are essentially reviews, objection blocks, or like pre-objection blocks. And those are on dedicated pages that are just a headline of the objection, a video about it, and then a wall of testimonials, basically. So we'll send those every 3 to 4 hours right now, starting 1 hour after they book up until the time that they have their call. Okay. 3 hours before the booking, the sales rep we're going to dynamically send from HubSpot again from the sales rep, a bullet point prep that's like, hey, your call's in 3 hours. Just a reminder, be in a quiet place. Make sure you reviewed these videos. Come prepared to ask any questions about this, this, and this, and just framing, right? But again, from the sales rep. We used to have this, and I might even made a video on this. I don't even know. I can't keep track anymore. But where we had all these different emails from the brand, then the person, then a different rep, then an AI thing, and it was just confusing, and the person didn't know where to answer on email or SMS. So this was a big thing for us, is just cutting it down and cleaning it up. Then a 30-minute default reminder on Calendly that is just like, basically looks like it comes with the calendar invite, and it's like, oh, hey, cool, reminder of this in 30 minutes. Now, from phone, we call them the triage team, but this is essentially call confirmation. And we are going to double dial and leave a voicemail if they don't answer, and then SMS, which I'll get into. But we are trying to connect with them within 5 minutes of them booking a call. So the call comes in, booked, pushes to a Slack channel. In that Slack channel, someone claims it, one of the triage reps. For us, right now, we're using a call center that is non-US, that works 20 hours a day, 7 days a week, that picks these calls and dials them. Okay. Now, current stats on this. On month, they have claimed 42% of our bookings. So, and of those bookings, those have a 70% show rate. All right. So the biggest thing is getting the confirmation. So like those stats always showed to work and have backed out for months and months. What we're finding more and more, and I think I go into that in this future changes, but we're talking about doing that in-house in a cleaner and better way, just based on these setter numbers, because if we can do it that way, then clearly you'll just be able to qualify more and be able to filter better and have better brand match with having an in-house setter team versus like a call center style. Also, if my video is glitching, I'm getting a new laptop when I get to 2,500 subs as a reward. So shout out. SMS, within 5 minutes, that triage is also going to text if they did not hear from them. And we're basically going to say, you need to confirm your call. Give me a call back and we'll talk. We tested saying just reply yes, and the claimed rate went like through the roof, but the actual show rates dropped on those claimed ones. So currently we're just back to notification of, hey, I left you a voicemail. I just need to talk to you real quick in order to confirm. And this whole call is basically them just saying, do you know that it's, this time zone? You know what you're getting on the call for. You do know it's a Zoom, right? We have an older demo, so making sure they understand that. Again, this whole thing is going to have an overhaul, and that's in this future changes section, because if we can get it anywhere near the sets number or sets quality, that's probably a better way to say it, because I didn't go into it, but the live call close on this is like way higher too. So the show and live call, meaning the blended sales per booking, is way higher on the sets, which is hilarious because we didn't use setters for the first 70 million like idiots. Then SMS, 30 minutes post. This one is 30 minutes after someone books a call. Then a sales rep is dynamically going to send an intro that's like, hey, this is Ryan from XYZ company. Just wanted to reach out, or reviewed your application. And then it's dynamically AI based on their application, reads it, snippets it into a sentence or two that's like, I see you want to achieve XYZ and that you've tried this. Like, we can definitely help. I'm excited for our call. And then it says, basically application information review. And then it says, based on that, I thought this piece of content more or less would be interesting to you. Pulls from a database where we have keywords and stuff that are broken down of the different content pieces on the site and resources. And it'll link them to a review that's relevant for them based on age, based on what they said in the app. It'll link them to a watch page or like a long form podcast or YouTube of things to try and get them to consume and be on the site more. Okay. So this has worked out pretty well for us, gets some steady responses and then gets a lot of clicks. The 30 minutes pre, we are then going to send from the sales rep again. This one dynamically changes if the person is in like communication back and forth. We don't want it to seem like an automated thing because it's coming from the sales rep. So we'll say, here's the link again 30 minutes before. It's like, hey, so-and-so, this is Ryan from XYZ. Just wanted to let you know, our call's in 30 minutes, like excited for our call in 30 minutes. Click on the link here, or here's the link again, and then drops the dynamic Zoom link. This one, super good. We route these all through Alloware currently. So we'll go into HubSpot and then through Alloware as workflows. So they send us from the sales rep's dedicated line. So it's easy for them to respond and see the communication in their, Talk Alloware app. They send green though. That's a bigger issue. We'll talk future changes. And then ads. For the ads section, what's going on here? Schedule versus purchase. I needed to add this to make a point. So I have other videos talking about the Facebook portion of this, and I understand a lot of the tracking, not a lot of the, creative and messaging and scaling and stuff. Like I do understand it, but I don't actually do it. So, but the optimizations, when we run schedule, these have historically always been less and less. We only honestly have run a ton of purchase optimized campaigns in order to get the, return that we have is from purchase campaigns. The schedule ones, for whatever reason, we've tried the qualifying. Right now, we're trying to clean it and qualify it more and more with the financial qualifier back and forth. But overall, for us, we have not been able to run schedule consistently to get quality shows and quality backed out closes. Okay. So a lot of these are running on purchase. Just wanted to be clear on that for this. We're trying to figure it out in the model and how we're feeding the pixel data back to get it on schedule. But right now, it's on purchase. Ads. Jeremy Haynes has that hammer them strat, which I talked about here somewhere for the hammer them content. He does the same thing in ads. And I'm going to let him talk about this more and because he crushes it and he has a ton of videos on this. So you guys can just look this up. But basically you're owning their feed for the 3-day booking window once they've booked or however basically. So it's like once they book and they're in your sphere, hammer them with content. So we have like 30 pieces of content in there with through play exclusions. So like once they see one over X amount of time, it removes that them from seeing that content piece and then they only see the other ones. So you're constantly just trying to show them like different content pieces that are pre-objection blocks, long form testimonials, long form content, just like anything positive and that they could consume prior to the call. So they just think you're everywhere. So this was a big one for us. I think this alone was 5 or 10% of an increase, in my opinion. And then let's get into the future changes. So future changes, another thing that a lot of these guys talk about is having a selfie video from your sales rep. So where this 30-minute post thing exists, right here, this would be a good place for us to be able to implement this. So we just had them all make Loom videos. We had a new sales rep come on that just like was doing her own process because that's the other thing is almost all of this is marketing and sales. And the sales rep really doesn't do much of anything in terms of like conversation or messaging or stuff prior, unless there's like responses. But like we do all of this canned, which down here, sales rep own it. Like I've heard that that's not as good to do and we might get away from that, but because of how much was getting lapsed, which is another issue and all of that, like we just took it over in full automations and marketing side of things, marketing tech, whatever you want to call it. So it could be interesting if we could get them to do it and own it more. But for the selfie videos, we had a new sales rep come on that was doing this with a Loom. That was a canned Loom, not personalized, but like, hey, just want to put a face to a name. This is so-and-so. I'm excited for your XYZ call. And they were getting like 65% shows like off the rip for like the first 10 days of being on the team. And we're like, what is going on? So we just got all of them to shoot these in Alloware Talk and the setup we use. You can't send video files. It's like this whole mess and it definitely holds us back. And people don't use their iPhones individually just because we want to track all the messaging, which also might be shooting ourselves in the foot. But we are putting them in Loom links, dynamically sending them and replacing out with this. So instead of pushing them to content, it's going to do an intro based on your application. I thought this and this, and then it's going to say also wanted to help you put a face to the name and then drop the link. So we're going to see what that does. I think that'll be very helpful. Confirmation page, we have 2 different splits right now going of this. I think this is a huge needle mover personally, because we are changing it out to have the objection blocks on page. We are changing it out so the structure of the page is built in a way that's like basically, confirm it, go into your email, get this and this is step 1 communication, basically all the stuff that we currently have on ours. So it'll say like this section right here. Then step 2 will be like, you need to confirm this in your email. Then it'll be watch this video. Then there's a couple of these, but then it's a bunch of pop-ups and like specific ones with more drawn out content. And the idea all around confirming the call, watching it and almost having like homework prior, and then consuming all the having consumption through long form and short form reviews. All right. So I think that'll be helpful. We had someone tell us this the other day, and I think this is super interesting, but what's your t-shirt size? So people will be like, in this text right here, be like, oh, hey, like this is so-and-so from, whatever company, excited for our call. Also, what's your t-shirt size? Just so I have it. And then it gets the person to respond. And that kind of comes back to this whole like framing and why. It's like, why is someone getting on the phone? Are you offering them some bonus if they show up? Like no matter what, they'll get access to this course. No matter what, they'll get, a t-shirt if they show. And then just doing what you can to get them over the line. It's like that Ogilvy thing. It's like just copy is to get them to the next part of the copy. It's like funnel, same thing. It's all you're trying to do is get them to the call right now. Once you get them on the call, then you can close them. You don't have to think about the next part. So this could be interesting for us. Blue bubbles, I made a whole video on this, on how this doubled our response rate on the application not booked AI sequence. But for blue bubbles, this could be very interesting. It's just crazy difficult with the tech stack. Crazy difficult because it's like 50 new contacts per day per line, right? 50 contacts per day per line. And then it routes through different phone numbers if you go above that. And then the sales reps have to be inside that platform. But all this is basically saying is like, it's them on an iPhone. But we would be able to track and see the numbers and the stats and automate things versus if they had their own iPhones and were trying to do this. But it worked really well for us on App Not Booked. Then it exploded on us because of batching and too many numbers and declines and stuff. So like we're still working on this to fix on the App Not Booked. Then we can come back to potentially using it to swap out the conduit of this. Because that's what we did on the other is like, we were sending green bubbles with all its messaging. All we did was keep all the messaging that's AI and then just put it in blue bubbles, and we got double the rates of response and all the things. Have a whole nother video on that. It's like doubled SMS something. And then, I already talked about sales reps owning it. So that's the general gist. This frame right here, setters being a big one of this. Setters are only 200 of these bookings, I want to say. Yeah, it's only 200 bookings, so it's like a low percentage. That's why the average is drawing down. Blended for 62, this is like the last 3 days. This is month to date. So month to date is 50% on this. Month to date is 72% on this. So if we can get the volume of these up, fix these a little bit, and these are also going to get better. So you're going to have quality improvement, and then volume improvement over on these. Then this number already is going to be 70%. So just with this stack, using setters and having this cook continuously into the right direction. So hope that's helpful for you guys. Let me know in the comments if you have anything. On Twitter a bunch now. So if you have any specific questions on this, I'm happy to share. Now, yesterday's stats. So yesterday, I don't know if you know, but Zoom went down right there. Everywhere. It was like Zoom, Cloudflare, Google, but Zoom was the longest one. So not only did we like had this crazy good sales meeting, they just started closing units like crazy. They closed 8 units or 7 units right here. Yeah, 1 unit here and then 7 here. And then Zoom just broke. No one could get on meetings. All the meeting links were invalid. So every single sales call we had of like 80 sales calls that were left on the day are Zoom links. And our buyer demo is an older female, and they couldn't get on the Zoom link. Then you're trying to get them on a phone call, then they don't think you're legit. Then they're confused why this is happening. Then you have like 10% of them show on the call. Like it was terrible. And then to compound it and make it worse, the calls booked for today now and last night and stuff like that, all we're not generating bookings through Calendly and Zoom connection because the integration's broke. So now we're going to feel it today. I already know it. So people aren't going to have Zoom links. You're going to have to message them and try and send them to Zoom link. They're not going to show for it. So it's just going to be a mess. But yesterday, every day is something. 8 buyers. We were cooking right here, and this is just good to see because that just means quality is there on the marketing side. Now it's more or less a sales function. It's maintaining on marketing, continuing to get costs down while keeping the quality, and then just pairing it with sales, just like sales needs to close more. So 8 on there, 39 on low ticket. That's feeding really, really well. A bunch of these yesterday and the day prior came from low ticket ascensions. So the math on this is mathin', and I'll get an update there. And then cash collected was only 42 grand, which is just terrible right now. So again, that's whatever, 1.2 million a month, which is just like blood. So yeah, we got to get back up to 1.5 to 2 just to like, more or less break even. Kind of, not actual, but like kind of. And then above that, the team's built for 2+. So that's that. X, Instagram, and subscribe. Give me the 2,500 so I can get a new laptop and these videos can stop glitching. So talk soon. Bye.